Hi all, I think I am live. Today I'm going to be interviewing Mel McSherry. Super excited. So this is my new interview series called On the Couch with Emma. I think we're a little bit blurry here, but hopefully it's going to fix itself. I'm just going to add Mel here. On the Couch is basically a little bit about entrepreneurs, getting them on the couch and getting them talking about what they do. Hi Mel.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you? So good to see you.
You too, you too. It's been way too long, but
I
obviously
know.
for a number of reasons.
Right.
And how's things over there with you guys?
We're swimming along as I'm sure most of y'all have seen the ups and downs that we're having here stateside. But I'm in Chicago and things are slowly but surely reopening, though my son is actually he's doing remote learning, so he's in the room
Okay.
next door. So he might pop in and say hello. But yeah, it's slowly but surely coming to I don't think a close, but we're figuring things out and moving along.
Yeah, some kind of normal. Yeah,
Yeah, some
same here.
kind. Yeah.
Yeah, what can you do? And you work online anyway, don't you really? You would have worked
Yeah.
online with clients?
Yeah, my business has been purely virtual for the last 5 years. So this is nothing really new in my world. It's just new having somebody else in my house all the time.
For sure, for sure. So I was just saying to anybody that's listening at this minute in time and whoever's listening back that this is the new interview series on the couch. So basically I'm just getting entrepreneurs on, and the reason it's on the couch is because obviously my background is psychology and it's all about like it's how customers think and feel, but also how you think and feel as an entrepreneur. And hopefully I know when I started, I would love to hear something like this about like how what went wrong, what went right, what not to do, what to do. So it just gave me the idea to kind of do it. And you are my first guest, so yay! No,
Yay!
it's frozen better. And I was just thinking, how long ago did we actually meet? It was 2 years, was it?
Yeah, 2 years, March, I think it was. All the
Yeah,
pictures popped up my time hop. But yeah, it's been 2 years. It's just insane.
yeah, and it was snowing. I
Oh,
remember.
it was crazy. Yeah, it took us over. I was supposed to be there like obviously in a day, and I think it took almost two to get there. I was like a day late with all,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was all of the things.
And we were there, snow or no snow. So basically, let's just get started. So I'm going to just ask you a few questions. Feel free to put in your own stuff as well. And sure, we'll see how it goes.
Love
So
it.
tell me in like 60 seconds and tell everyone in 60 seconds what you do.
Yeah. So I am an international business coach, and I primarily work with women business owners who are exhausted and overwhelmed by everything that they think they need to do to be successful. And I show them how to prioritize. Well, first, I give them the space to connect and identify with what they actually want. And then I show them how to prioritize their time, their profit avenues, and themselves correctly. So every day they're creating it within the time that they have.
Amazing. And from knowing you and from reading about you as well, that kind of comes from you, doesn't it? Like your own background, you were kind of struggling with that, were you?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. I've been an entrepreneur for over a decade now, and I've definitely, had the ups and downs, the in-betweens. And I found that a lot of the reason why I was struggling as much as I was is because I wasn't prioritizing myself correctly. I was putting
Mhm.
everybody else's needs, wants, expectations, processes before my own. And when I finally had that, I call it an OHF moment in my book. When I had that OHF moment, I realized that the only person that was ever going to create what I wanted was me. And I needed to start, prioritizing around what I wanted in my time correctly. And it started off slowly with just saying no to things, which is massive. But it was those little steps that I kept taking every single day that has helped me just completely connect to and pursue what I've wanted ever since.
Yeah, I think, you go from like working a job or doing whatever where you just said yes to everything and every request of you, and then you go to start owning your own business and you're like, well, I better say yes to everything, or I might be
Right.
turning into something. And you bend. I remember saying to someone like, I would brush the floor if you told me to brush the floor as well as doing your marketing,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, and for free, so and it like you need to put on your own oxygen mask first. So if you're not looking after yourself, you
Mhm.
can't look after everyone else. And in fact, when I started doing the same, I realized I was actually better for my clients. I was able to do
Yeah.
more for them by
Mhm.
doing less, if that makes sense.
Totally. And the other thing that I found as well is that guilt of self-care started to go away because you weren't trying to implement it. It was just natural because your self-care was you were prioritizing what you wanted first. And so when you finally let go of the fact that you don't have to be busy to be successful, you can just be intentional to be successful, then all of a sudden
God.
your day just becomes this beautiful example of how you want to live it all the time.
Completely, completely. And I think there's a big mix up there with being busy, as you say. And like, I remember thinking, I need to work a 16-hour day. I need to get up
Yeah.
at 6 o'clock. I need to
Yeah.
do this. And, or like, what will people think of me? And, you're nearly like your worst boss because
Oh
you're
God,
like
yeah.
trying to do more and more.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, you're completely right. Be more intentional with what you're doing. And then it just makes life so much better and easier. And that's why you started the business. So you could work good hours
Exactly.
you want to do and that good stuff as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me something interesting about you that other people maybe don't know.
Ooh, a fun fact about me that I love to share is I was a born and raised vegetarian up until about 5 years ago. In fact, I was actually third generation born and raised vegetarian. And I actually just started eating meat about 5 years ago, mostly because I wanted to travel so much, and I have been traveling so much overseas and around the country that I wanted to experience cultures a little bit more in a whole sense than just bread and cheese, which I could still live on if I needed to. But yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I find interesting. My son is vegetarian, but that's a fun fact I like to throw in every now and then.
Do you see a massive difference when you weren't eating meat and you are eating meat now?
I would say probably the biggest difference is I was eating a ton of soy and gluten without even really realizing it. And I noticed a huge shift in just my energy, my just my hormones in general. And it was because I was just overdoing it on the soy and gluten. So I found a better balance. I'm sleeping better. And I know some people say the opposite when they go from eating meat to being vegetarian. But I think because I had so much of it in my system, it actually balances out. I still eat a lot of vegetarian dishes that I absolutely love and can't live without. But I think finding that new blend with getting older, my body's reacting really well to it. So yeah.
I think it is balance in everything, business, life,
Hmm.
everything. Like you can't do too much of the same thing or it just doesn't work,
Or even
basically.
just
So,
sticking to the same routine, even though you've grown. I talk a lot about that with my clients. Is that, they're like, well, this worked before. Why isn't it working now? Well, because you're a different person, you're a different place, you have new clients. Like
mhm,
that's a lesson you can learn in all areas of your life and business is that, you
mhm.
have to consistently change things up and reblend and reevaluate because you are never in the same spot twice, so the same thing is never going to always work from day one.
Uh-huh. Which kind of makes like owning your own business exciting, I think, because you can always change it up. You always want to do something different. Like I know I'm
Yeah.
always every year trying to do something a
Yeah.
little bit different. And it would drive me insane if I was in the same job, like
Yeah.
doing the
Oh
same
God, yeah.
thing. I
Yeah.
never could do.
And
And
it's
so
always
I'd like
something
to
that you want to
do
do to like evolve yourself. So the same of, when I started out, I was just doing one-on-one coaching and then I added on speaking. And now my book is coming out in a couple of weeks. And now I'm doing also, it is this kind of progressional thing that always keeps you excited and re-engaged with what you're doing. Because I'm the same. I can't, even my daily routine is different. Like I can't even do the same thing every single day because it drives me nuts.
same as definitely. So tell me about the book. I seen you put it up there on your stories just before you were speaking about coming on. What is it
Yeah.
about? What's it about? Tell me everything.
So my book is called She Profits, and it's my outrageously simple 5-point entrepreneurial profit plan. And it's designed for those women that I want to work with and that I want to support, which are in their businesses and they're overwhelmed and overextended because, like we've just been saying, they've just been saying yes to everything. They've never really taken the time to truly identify what they want and who they want to be within their businesses. So I break it down for them of how, I help them identify what they want. I show them how to tame their time, boundaries, how to use these really, quick tips and hacks to protect that time and how to put that into action. And on top of that, I share some motivational and inspirational stories from my journey as an entrepreneur for the last 10 years. I share some of my clients' stories as well, because I wanted something that was inspirational and motivational, but something that you can implement. Because I know there's a ton of books out there that are either all one or all the other. It's either like rah, 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 and then There you go. Or textbook style process, but none of like that human interest that I
Yeah.
appreciate. So yeah, it's coming out on October 16th. I'm ridiculously excited. I actually have I put the reveal, but like I got my
Yeah,
proof the other day and
yeah,
it's so pretty.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm so excited to have this out in the world and to be a continued value and resource for women.
Amazing, amazing. Well done to you. That is that
Thank
your
you.
first book?
It's my first full book. I co-authored a #1 best-selling Amazon book a couple years ago, but this is my first all me, 100% like all in.
Amazing. Well done, Mel.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
So speaking of your journey and what people are going to learn and stuff, can you tell us something that like helped you build your business, even in the start, beginning, middle, end, whatever, you think would help people right now? Like, what do you do that? And I remember meeting you and saying, I remember I was so impressed because you had like booked, I don't even know how many speaking gigs in like the 1 week or the 1 month or something. And I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, did you get some of her energy? I think that's what like I always get from you, even when I'm watching you online. Your energy, your enthusiasm, you're always hustle, hustle, hustle. So any tips on that, like how to build a business?
Yeah, so my first one is, be laser focused and don't be afraid to take things step by step. I think we get a little bit too overwhelmed with, again, everything that we think we need to do. So we need to have a title, we need to have a website, we need to have an LLC. Like we put things in check boxes. And for a lot of women that I work with and I speak to, they've just been doing things out of order because they actually haven't just taken the time to go, what do I want to create with this? Like, what do I want my ideal day to look like? And it always goes back to what do you want? And even if you take that in the smallest sense of, for those of you, watching this today or later on, what do you want to accomplish by the end of October? Like looking at what you've already created, what do you want to like have accomplished by the end of October? Then it's just a matter of like putting everything else to the side and creating the steps that get you towards that. Everything else will fall into place or negate themselves naturally. But when we try to put our hands in way too many cookie jars, which is what I was so guilty of for so long, nothing gets accomplished or everything is half-assed and you never really see that full spectrum of success that you want. But when you really just know that everything will work out in its own time, but this is your jam for right now, or this is what you really want to focus on, you have full permission to use that time towards that and then see what else you need to either delegate in parallel or play around with as an outside way to step away from what you're focusing on. But it's all about just really understanding, connecting that this is what I want. This is the time that I have. Now, what can I do within that time to get me closer to what I want? And I say to my clients all the time, it doesn't matter the size of the step. All that matters is the direction. So just keep moving forward every day and you will get there. You just need to trust and stay consistent.
I mean, I always say start with the end in mind. So kind of what you're talking about, like what do you want, then work. Because a lot of people start, you know, should I go on Facebook? What should I be doing? Let's throw something up instead of
Yeah.
like, why am I doing this? Like, what's the
Yeah.
point?
I see other
Yeah.
coaches doing this. They've got courses. So I got to do a
Mhm.
course. I have to do lives.
Yeah,
No, 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 no. Who are you? What are your strengths? And who are your clients? And where do they get their information? And how can we meld the two? Like
yeah,
I always say there's no wrong way to build a business unless you just don't do anything. So it's
exactly.
playing to your strengths consistently, doing what you love, because that's what's going to keep you motivated as you continue to learn and strengthen what I call your not so muches. And that's how you keep evolving every day with still staying connected to who you are and what you want.
Yeah. So let's say you get to those points though where like you're doing that and then you kind of lose motivation. Like there is tough
Mhm.
days and I completely get it. What do you do to kind of keep yourself motivated or to get back into the swing of things, let's say?
I always say don't be afraid to take a step to the side. Like don't be afraid to, because sometimes the reason why we lose our motivation or we lose sight of it is because we're too deep into it. And every single artist or creative will say the first thing you need to do when you feel like you haven't done enough is take a step backward to the side and really look at what you've done and really take a second to now re-identify what do you want. You should always give yourself permission to take a break. Always, which is so counterproductive to a lot of us, especially women, because we just want to be like constantly busy. We want to get that hustle badge or that martyr badge. But the thing is that that's doing us a massive injustice. So if you're starting to feel overwhelmed or like you're spinning your wheels, take a step to the side and just reconnect to your why. Why did you start? Maybe you lost sight of it. Maybe it's changed. I'm doing that a lot with my clients right now. They're in what I call their transitional hallway. So we're reconnecting to, okay, what made them motivated before? What can we keep with that motivation? And then what can we add on as they're continuing to evolve? So don't be afraid if you're like, oh, I don't want to work out anymore. I want to like do this, or, Instagram lives don't make you feel excited anymore. Okay, so what can you do to get your information out there that's going to keep you engaged? Don't be afraid to just take that step and reevaluate and just take a breath, because that's probably the main reason why is you haven't given yourself that space to breathe and be present and then move on.
Completely. I remember watching a girl that I follow. I don't know if you follow her, Alex Beaton. Like she's
Mm-hmm.
really cool. She's really cool. But I
Yeah.
remember taking a nap during the day, and I was like, "Oh my God, she's taking a nap! Like, how does she? Like, that's not okay. Don't tell people you're doing it." But then I was like, "Well, maybe it is. She works hard. She's allowed to do. She owns her own business. She can do what she wants." And it
Yeah.
really made me really think about like, what do I think I'm doing by like working flat out and not taking any time. So completely taking time away, even just like a walk
Mhm.
on the beach or whatever,
Yeah.
just not thinking. I mean, my most creative time is actually when I'm not in work mode. It's like when I'm taking a
Hmm.
shower or like walking
Yeah.
or doing something, come up with an idea, and I'm like, oh, that was good, and
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea if you're unmotivated, kind of step away because you're not going to get motivated by still drudging along. You kind of do need
Hmm.
to take a step back completely. So Alex will be my person and 100 other people I follow, but who inspires you? Who helps you?
Oh, God, that's a great question. I have so many amazing people that I stalk and I've worked with. Obviously, I stalk you. Um,
Oh,
but I would say probably the women that I've just been really stalking on social media is now I'm spacing on names. It's like when somebody asks you what your favorite book is, and you're like,
I
what's
know.
my favorite book? But I have had the honor of, I just worked with Shannon of Social Bungalow. She is phenomenal and a powerhouse on Instagram. All of her stuff is just so applicable and just like this is how you're going to do it. Like, I just love the way that she talks. Another woman I follow is VIP Wright. She's or VP Wright. She does so many great things with diversity and inclusion when it comes to pricing. My VA Lonnie is badass. I follow her. I mean, there's just so many people that I have been, a lot more creatives that I've been following lately. But yeah, if you just want to pop over to my Instagram and just check out who I follow, they're all
Yeah,
so amazing in their own way.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, that's a great thing about online, isn't it? Like you don't actually have to be in a room with these people. Like you
Oh
can
my
literally
God.
go to Instagram and just follow what they're doing and kind of get motivated and excited about it and then do your own thing because of it as well.
Yeah, I've created so many amazing relationships, whether they're aware of it or not. So many new best friends. But it is such a beautiful space, especially with the environment that we're in now. And that's something that I definitely talk about a lot is how to genuinely network online because it's completely possible. I've been doing it for the last decade, but it's really something that you need to come from of that you want to add value as much as you're getting from them. And if it's something that
Mhm.
inspires you and gets you excited, share that with people, like shout them out, or if it inspires you to do something, share that and still shout them out. Like there's just so many ways that you can continuously stay connected and motivated even in this environment through social media.
Yeah, completely. And it's the beauty of it, really.
Hmm.
Um, so like what I like about those people as well is I feel like they have got a really strong purpose. That's the kind of people that I love following. So
Hmm.
speaking of that, what do you feel like your purpose is with what you're doing or just in life in general?
My purpose is I actually have a mission to help 1 million women create the business, the money, and the life that they want. And my purpose is just to be that value for them, to, hold that space with them and that's why I am so open as I am on my Instagram because I'm a divorced mom to a special needs 9-year old. And that, plays a big part in my life and my business. And I want women, moms, partners, I just want them to see that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it is fucking awesome. And it's finding those things that you connect with and that somebody's going through the same thing. That is my purpose, is to show that yes, this is what I preach. Yes, I practice it every day. Yes, some days still fucking suck, but it's reconnecting to that purpose and to that mission and having amazing, just spending time with amazing women like you to re-engage and re-encourage me that this is what I'm supposed to do and I wouldn't do anything else for $1,000,000.
Yeah, I know. I always say I'd rather work 80 hours a week for myself than 40 hours a week for someone else, you know.
Amen.
And even for free, you know, I'd
Yeah.
do this for free, definitely. And I think that purpose thing as well, it's good to know it because if we talked about earlier, you know, keeping you motivated, like if you're thinking, I don't want to post on social media today, well, there's one person out of those million women that need to hear it
Hmm.
today. So that's why I need to do it, you know.
Yeah, that
So
one. Yep.
yeah,
Oh,
completely.
I
And I
see my
always
girl Crystal just said good morning. Good morning, Miss Crystal.
Oh, brilliant. So we have a good wide variety of people all the way from Ireland to America watching, hopefully. So
Yeah.
it's good. Okay, so we talked as well about, you know, days that get you down and stuff, but like what would you say is like how do you handle self-doubt or do you even get self-doubt? Is that something that
Oh, hell
Americans
yeah. Oh, God, no. Somebody actually just asked me, they're like, have you heard of imposter syndrome? I'm like, yes, her name is Carol. She's sitting right over there. Um, you know what? Honestly, what helps me through my days of self-doubt is my support system. I have an amazing partner. I have an amazing spiritual team that I spend time with. It's going back to who are those people that can just hold that space for you? Because as much as I try to do it on my own in the beginning, it wasn't accomplishing anything. And the more that I reach out to people, or that I let people hold space for me, this is probably the most growth I've had in the last year personally than in my entire life because of that. So, don't be afraid to reach out. It's not a weakness when you tell somebody you need help or you just need space to vent. That is something that is, you need to create for yourself. And I definitely, that's been my big thing, is just having an amazing support system that just holds space for me, gives me opinions when I need it, or just shuts up and lets me vent when I need it. And that for sure has just been, yeah, has definitely been my safety net.
cool. So having the right like network around you, people you can talk to,
Yeah.
talking about it and cool. Yeah, brilliant. Great. So, you know, I feel like I've made all the mistakes in the world, but as well, they've made me who I am. But if
Mhm.
there's any mistake that you maybe have made that you thought like, I'd love to tell someone about that so they don't make the same one, what would you say is the biggest thing that you could tell someone to be like, if you're running a business, here's something not to do?
Do not completely model your business after somebody else, which is so easy to do in the beginning because you'll see somebody that has created exactly what you think you want at that time. And so I will say me, because this was definitely my lesson learned. So what I unknowingly did was just completely shift how I worked, how I spoke, how I shifted everything that completely mirrored this person because I wanted exactly what they wanted. And it didn't work. Like, I will say I did make great money doing it, but it was not fulfilling. I talk about a lot in my book and on my social media about profitability, and it's threefold. It's mentally, emotionally, and financially. You have to have those first two to make the third work. You can have as much money as you want, but if you're a miserable cow, it doesn't mean jack crap. So you need to have that excitement and connectivity first, and then that financial is just the icing on the cake. So when you see somebody who has what you want, do not feel like you have to just completely shift everything towards their system or their style or their personality. You are you for a reason, and you will build something that's even better than what they have because it'll be 100% yours. So don't get caught up in the comparison game. Don't get caught up in, those Carols or those Beckys or whatever you've named it in your head. They're there because your body just wants to keep you safe. It's just your comfort zone speaking. But the beautiful thing is that you created that comfort zone so you can recreate it. And the more that you take those little steps outside of it, the more it'll expand with you. But know that this is your journey. You are creating everything that you want. And what somebody else has is brilliant for them, but you've got your own journey. So just trust the process and keep moving forward.
Completely. Love it. Love it. I always have a slide in my talk. It's like be yourself because everyone else is taken.
Yeah.
So exactly like that. Yeah, just be it when you're authentically you, like you feel it, everyone else feels it. It's
Hmm.
just, but it's so easy, I know, to look at other people and be like, oh my God, she's like, even Alex, the beaten, I look at her and I'm like, oh my God, I want everything. I'm going to move where you are.
Right.
But at the same time, it's not me and it works for her and it wouldn't work for me. Exactly what you say, completely.
Hmm.
So where, and I know people are making jokes about this at the minute, that 5 years ago if someone had said, where do you see yourself? And no one would have said that. But where would you see yourself, minus the COVID, in like 5 years' time? Where would you like to be?
Oh, great question. And you know what's so funny? I'm always horrible at this question because I never think that far ahead because so much can change. But I will say, for the next, I will say the end of 2021 for sure. I definitely just see myself more in what I'm calling the one-to-many arena. So having my book be a best-selling book, speaking a little bit more. I have a membership site that's in the works that's going to be something completely new, one of a kind that I'm so excited about. That's really going to build a genuine community with women entrepreneurs. So just being in that space more of, being being a sought after value, being a sought after resource, and being able to provide for as many women as possible without overextending and overwhelming myself, but continuing that change and continuing that value because I keep telling everybody those of us that are entrepreneurs at this time, we are going to be the new golden rule. Because if we can survive this and continue to either thrive through it or just like maintain and survive, we are going to be the go-to people moving forward because we have seen everything, especially in our generation, like we've been through everything.
Yeah,
So having that space and having built that platform to where I can continue to support women as they move forward, that's even in 5 years, that's where I still want to be as just a support for women, a value of women, and to be a resource so they can create what they want in the time that they have.
amazing. And you know what? You're completely right. I find that so hard as well, 5 years, because I'm always like, what am I doing next month? What's my 3 month
Right.
plan? I'm
I don't know
like,
anything past the 16th when my book comes out, and then we'll talk about November.
yeah, completely. And like you change so much. What you think you wanted 5 years ago is completely different. I remember thinking I want like all the staff and like this big massive company, and now I'm like, that would be my worst nightmare. Like I definitely
Right.
don't want it.
And I think
Yeah.
that too, like, you should definitely know your big picture, but recognize it and then let it be. I think when we get
Mhm.
too caught up in like, but this is what I want to do in 10 years. Okay, pumpkin, but what's happening in front of you like in 10 days? Like
Yeah.
you need to allow that to grow and move with you. And that doesn't mean that you failed because you told somebody in 5 years you're going to be, like the Queen of England. That
Uh-huh.
just means your priorities changed and your passions changed. And now you're building something that's even better.
Yeah, completely, completely. And I think that was a big lesson for me as well, that like business isn't this thing like I thought a business was all these staff and all this stuff, and because I didn't have that, do I tell people I don't have that? And then I realized, even like I moved out of my office to work from home just before COVID, and I was a little bit weird about it. I was like, I don't have an office, and now it's like completely normal and everybody works
Mm-hmm.
from home. So it is really doing you and just knowing your kind of end goal, knowing what you're doing in your next 10 days and being okay with that and knowing that that's the business you want to build. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
completely. So, what is the best piece of advice you live by?
My favorite piece of advice is a quote from my mentor, John Maxwell. And he says, in order to create what you want, you have to start saying no to the good so you can start saying yes to the best. And that has been my go-to line since I heard it 7 years ago. And it's always been my guiding light of, you have to recognize the difference between the good and the excellent. Like what's the good and what's the best, because you deserve the best. And I think that definitely helps with prioritizing because you can look at the options that you have and say, okay, is this just good because somebody's like, I want to hire you before a quarter of what you want to cost? Or do you want to say
Hmm.
no to that person because around the corner is that person that's going to pay full price and appreciate every single minute of your value? So it's
Complete.
that trust that, you have full say on how to spend the time that you have, but you have to protect that by saying no to the good so you can stay open to that best.
Completely. I love that. I really love that because it's so hard sometimes to say no to things that actually are good, actually
Mm-hmm.
would be
Mm-hmm.
okay because you are worried that the other, but until you say no to things completely, the rest of it won't come. You'll be busy
Yep.
doing that good thing and miss out
Hmm.
on the best completely. Love
Exactly.
that. Gonna steal that one, live by that
Mhm.
one myself. Okay, so I have two more questions for you. Believe it or
Awesome.
not, we're in the 30-minute mark, and I
Oh
know
my
people's
God.
attention is like, I know. People's attention span is like a goldfish. So if you're still listening, I'm very impressed. But of course, you are because Mel, you're super interesting.
Yeah.
So last two questions for you. Last one is, if you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
So, it's so funny. This is my favorite superpower even before COVID, but now it's even more apparent because of COVID. Teleportation. Like I just want to be able to teleport. Yeah. So that way I don't have to go through TSA. I don't have to worry about packing. The big reason why I loved it is because I hate packing. I hate packing. I love traveling, hate packing. It's like, man, if I could just teleport myself and all my shit, be brilliant. Now even more apparent because I haven't traveled in so long and I haven't seen my family in so long. So teleportation would be my number one superpower.
The way forward. I actually don't mind packing. It's the unpacking and the cleaning and all
Oh,
that.
I'm
I usually
horrible at both. So bad.
maybe we could just like invent that as a service. Someone will come in, pack your bags, unpack your bags.
That'd be brilliant. Yeah, I'm
Mm.
in. That could be our side hustle.
Yeah, don't tell anyone. This is just
Right?
live.
Shh, secret safe with us.
Okay, thank you so much. So the last thing I just want to ask you is before we end, I just want you to give us an insight into any kind of freebies you have or any offers. Obviously, your book, let us know where you can get that and all that stuff as well. But anything else that you want to talk about?
Yeah, most definitely. So there's a ton of amazing free resources on my website, including my Prioritize Your Profits checklist and my free mini ebook called V3, Vision, Value, and Voice, the Holy Trinity of Business Success. And all those are on my website, which is melmcsherry, super easy.com. My book is coming out on the 16th. So if you would like VIP access, we are sending everybody on my VIP list the link to purchase 48 hours before it comes out. The link is in my bio. It just says She Profits Waitlist. Pop on over there, slap your name down, and you will get access to the book before anybody else. But other than that, stock away. I'm on Instagram. DM me, whatever you need. I'm just a message away.
Class. Mel, thank you so much for being the
Thank
first
you,
guest.
Emma. This was so fun.
I can't believe how quickly the time went by.
Yeah.
But like from the first time I met you, I knew your enthusiasm, everything. So I knew you'd be a great one to have on first. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. And I can't wait to watch your next one.
Yeah, and I'll see you over Instagram, hopefully
Yes,
in person at some point.
right?
But
Someday I will pop back over because I'm missing
yeah,
it like crazy.
yeah, and vice versa. I am dying to get back to America and travel a bit more as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Have a great day. I'll talk to
You
you
too.
soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Okay, guys, so that was the first episode of On the Couch with Emma. I have a list of entrepreneurs that are waiting to get on the next calls or next videos. But if you're interested, send me a DM and I will put you on the wait list. Hope you all enjoyed. Any questions? Just ask. I'm going to put up Mel's details after this. So go on, follow her. She's amazing. She will definitely keep you motivated. Have a great day, everyone.